Alright, so setting up your paper. We're going to be using the inches side of your ruler. So this side, not the centimeters, inches. So that's the one that has the 1 through the 12 on it. You're going to line it up with the side of your paper. You'll put a little mark at 1, 11, and 12 on the top, and then coming down. So you're not going to turn the paper, don't turn the ruler. You're going to bring it down and mark 1, 11, and 12. And then you're going to use your ruler, almost like a seesaw. You're going to put your pencil on the top mark for 12, line it up. Make sure you spread out your fingers, line up with the bottom one for 12, pull towards you, and then do the same for 11, and then again for the 1 notches. So you should have a line, 1 line here on the left, and then 2 lines on the right. And then you're going to turn it so that the 2 lines are further away from you. And then the 1 line is closer. You take your ruler, line it up with the edge of the paper again. Put a notch at 1, put another notch at 11. Then go up. And on this line, not the second line out of the 2, but the one closest to you, you line up. Put a notch at 1, put a notch at 11. And then again, you'll line up the 11s. And then line up the 1s. Okay? So your next step is we got to find the middle. Our rulers are not long enough to find the middle, so I'm going to pick a pencil that has some texture to it. I'm going to line up this side with this corner. I'm going to take this and then line up this side, not this side with a pencil with the other corner. Okay, lightly draw a line somewhere in the middle. So mine's going through there. And then do the same thing. And it should look roughly like this. You were going to go to find this little point in the middle. That's what this all was about for that. Of course, I moved my camera, so now I can't see anything. Okay, so now that we have that, we don't need these lines anymore. So now what you're going to do is on the top, you're going to be having 2 more notches. On the left, 2 more notches. On the bottom, 2 notches. And on the right, you'll have 1. The goal here is to try to make 7 equal sections, which is a little difficult, but we'll do our best. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see how that goes. You won't really know what that looks like fully until you go to move everything, other than I think those might be too close, so I'm going to move that down, which I can always do, give myself a little arrow about moving that down and erase what I don't need, which means I know I'm going to need to move this one down. I might need to move this one over a little. That one over a smidge. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up with that in this middle point that we found earlier. I'm going to lightly, all your lines should be lightly drawn so that it's easy to erase later if you need to. Turn your paper as needed. Okay, so I'm relatively happy with all the sizes. So I'm going to leave mine alone. This one looks a little bigger, but I'm leaving it alone. So then your next step, after you have decided that's it, if not, you judge where you need to move it, put a notch, erase the line, do the next one. You're going to get a fine point Sharpie, so the ones that look like this, and using your ruler, you're going to have a little bit off of the line. Don't hold your Sharpie in one place too long, because it will bleed out and create a dot. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to outline I'm going to do this one first, then I'm going to go through, I'm going to outline my box itself. And then we want it to look like the box is floating, so I'm leaving off these little end lines. I'm going to move it this way. This is not the best Sharpie, so it's being a little draggy. I'm having to go back over it a few times to darken it up. And I'll come in and do the same thing for the middle lines. I'm always going to try to pull towards me whenever possible because it makes it a lot easier. If you push away from you, it's going to cause it to drag or bump and miss. Once you have that done, your paper is basically set up. You just have to go through, erase any pencil that you might have. Before you move on any further, after you've erased your pencil, you gotta turn this onto its back, and where this blank spot is on the front, on the back of it, bottom left, first name, last name, class code. So that's whatever block you are, followed by the day, so A or B. Alright, and that is how you set up your paper.